What's up, everybody? It's your coach Jaron here with Forge, and this is the Forge 8-week nutrition program. All right, if you've been successful, then week 4 is upon us. If you struggled a little bit, this might be week number 48. Either way, this week we're going to take the information we gathered last week by tallying up your daily protein intake and getting an average. Now, most likely that average is not that high and is not high enough. So this week our goal is to set and adhere to a protein target for each day of the week. To do this, we want to shoot for around 1 gram per pound of body weight in grams of protein each day. That means if you weigh 200 pounds, then you're going to be shooting for 200 grams of protein every single day. If you're somebody who is maybe more than 50 pounds overweight, then it might be more realistic for you to use the target of 1 gram per pound of your intended or ideal body weight. So if you want to lose, if you're 250 and you want to get down to 200, then 200 grams is still going to work great for you. But about 1 gram per pound is great for everyone across the board. Now here's the kicker. We're going to hit this protein target while still maintaining our calorie target from last week. You may find that it is difficult to get your entire amount of protein in while maintaining that calorie budget, and therein lies the challenge for this week. Now, I'll forewarn you, and I do empathize with the fact that this will most likely be the most difficult week for you thus far. That's because hitting a protein target while remaining within a calorie budget will require the most significant lifestyle changes to your dietary habits. The average person who is just eating based on their taste buds and their whims is always under-eating protein, almost always under-eating protein. And if they are getting adequate protein, they're doing it in a way that is so calorically dense and high that guarantee they're not hitting an ideal amount of calories. So what this is going to require is that you perhaps make a shift towards more whole foods in your diet. You'll likely have to start cooking or preparing more of your meals. You're going to have to plan to get the protein in each day that your body requires. It's not something that's going to happen on accident. You're not going to go through your normal patterns of eating and then, whoops, I accidentally got 200 grams of protein, because foods these days just typically aren't set up for you to do that. So before you go out and start this week, I would suggest using MyFitnessPal as a tool to maybe look at ways in which you can pre-plan how to get that protein in to each day. See what meals may work best for you, see recipes and ideas that you could cook and prepare, research places that you like to eat, and see what other options there are that might make it easier for you to hit that protein target. Either way, this is a learning experience, and if this week takes you more than one try to get right, it is well worth the time and investment it's going to take for you to be successful. At the end of the week, I want you to review your food log and reflect on the things that happened over the course of the week. What situations, maybe social, made it difficult for you to hit your protein targets for the day? What meals were you forced to have to change because they simply did not hit the targets that you wanted to hit? Also consider which meals you enjoyed. What things did you put onto your plan for this week that were the most enjoyable? What did you like to eat? What were a few basic recipes or meal ideas that fit easily within the structure of your family? Think about these things. I want you to take this information and use it to build on so we can approach next week strategically with the information we gathered from this week. On a positive note, you may have noticed that getting adequate protein in each day made huge differences in your level of hunger. Oftentimes, especially when eating in a calorie deficit, if your protein is low, you're more likely to experience symptoms of hunger throughout the day. Protein, in addition to being used for rebuilding muscle tissue to help us recover from training and grow muscles back bigger and stronger, has a huge effect on satiety, or the feeling of fullness. So if you are trying to eat in a calorie deficit, one of the best ways to stay full the longest is by eating adequate amounts of protein. Either way, think about these things as we go into next week. Checkpoint. Like I said before, if you struggled with this week and were not able to successfully hit your protein target every day for all 7 consecutive days, just go back to the beginning of the week. This may take a few tries to get down. Like I told you before, it's going to take some planning and a decent amount of intention to pull it off. So if you weren't successful, continue this week until you are, before moving on to week number 5.